Android users, BlackBerry users, iPhone users, Nintendo DS users. Long ago, the four means of communications lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the iPhone niggas attacked. Only TommyNFG, master of all communication elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 10 years passed and me and the boys found Tommy as Avatar at Barnes & Noble's in the hentai section. And although his communication skills are amazing, he's got a lot of learning to do. But I believe Tommy can end this debate for good. For the longest time I can remember, iPhone and Android users have been at neck and neck. The story of these two sides is quite impeccable. World War I? Nah. World War II? Nah. The Great Ninja War? The true niggas know the war between iPhones versus Androids is way more important. Whether it's iPhone users making fun of Android users saying the same old shit, like seriously, it gets annoying at this point. Y'all have used these same fucking jokes for so long.
Yo, your batteries fell out your phone, pick them up, dummy.
Yo, your camera quality's complete dog shit.
Yo, your emojis are goofy as hell.
It's just not funny anymore. But this definitely goes vice versa as well. Android users will always use the same jokes over and over again.
Oh, well, actually, we already had that feature years ago. Y'all just got that?
Your phone's about to die already? Of course it is. It's an iPhone.
Haha, your phone's cracked so easily.
Plain and simple, I hate this fucking debate and argument so much. It's so pointless and both sides are just extremely fucking annoying. Growing up experiencing both sides was an utter pain in the ass. Well, actually, at first I had a DS, and you bet I was pulling all the bitches on PictoChat, but that's not the point. After that, I actually moved on to my first big boy phone, which was the Samsung S4. And I gotta say, for the time, this shit used to hit. There were so many damn phone features that they gave, which honestly I had no use having because I never used a single one of them. Like, what the hell is an NFC? Anyways, it was still a good phone. All I would do is play Subway Surfers and Clash Royale on it, and watch YouTube on it as well. Everything was a-okay. I mean, life was good, what can I say? Until the iPhone nigga showed up. The amount of slander I faced for having an Android phone in middle school was absolutely despicable. I'm surprised I didn't turn into a menace like Homelander. This was in the prime era of Vine 2, where King Batch and Jerry Perp drink feeding into racist stereotypes was popular, Lele Pons falling on her ass was still funny, and where hating on Androids was at an all-time peak. So every day in and out I would be laughed at just for existing. I couldn't pull my phone out without being ready for an emergency roast session. They really had me with PTSD at a young age. Meanwhile, everyone was roasting me while having iPhone 5Cs. And if you don't know what an iPhone 5C is, first off, good for you. Second off, all you need to know is that it's ass. And I faced this slander up until high school sophomore year where I still had an Android. Nah, I was not giving up on my Android. So I decided to make a change. I went out and bought the best Android phone I could have at that time, which was honestly better and more expensive than anyone else's phone in my class. I mean, not to flex, but it was pretty good, come on now. It didn't matter though because I still got roasted. The worst part too was that trying to get a girl's number was a complete pain in the ass. I always had to use Snapchat because the norm was at my school if you had an Android that you're broke and you're probably living in Section 8 housing. It was to the point where I had a phone case where you couldn't even tell it was an Android like that. So on my junior year, I made a change. I bought my first ever iPhone. I thought everything was good now that I had an iPhone, but then all of a sudden, people started to slander on iPhones now. Like there was no winning for me. It was at the time when Apple got exposed for slowing down the iPhones. I saw memes about iPhone batteries being trash or iPhone screens always being cracked, and other memes making fun of Apple charging too much for their shit, which is honestly true. So it truly turned me into the man I am today, where I can safely say I hate both sides. I mean, the memes themselves are the fault people even acted like this. So I just wanted to break down how dumb all these memes were. Like, these memes were so fucking inaccurate. And as a little insecure teen, I took them to heart. First, we're gonna start off with the Android and the camera quality memes. This is the number one thing I was made fun of on my Android. And I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of laughed at these in my lifetime. In fact, I was on my Android laughing at these camera quality memes, then crying myself to sleep. But it's the fact that people took it so serious which really bothers me. The meme genuinely led people to believe that Android cameras really like this. Every time I'd be successfully roasting someone at the lunch table, all a nigga had to say was, "But you got an Android camera." Then it was pretty much over for me. My fate was already set in stone at that point. There's also those people who write full-on articles explaining how Apple is superior in the camera world. That's masterful dick eating at its finest. But it was just the way that they actually compared the cameras that really got to me. Because the main comparison was saying that the Android cameras were worse on Snapchat. Like, yeah, no shit. The reason that's even a thing, by the way, is because Snapchat doesn't even use the Android cameras correctly. They just take a screen grab of your fucking camera. So it wasn't even my fault that I was getting made fun of. It was completely out of my control. But once we pull up the real camera apps, then it gets real silent. Because iPhone users always like to say that, but when you face real proof, you get silent all of a sudden. And before anyone says I'm biased. Literally look at my phone. I just need to mention that I've had an iPhone for years now. Next is those Android battery memes. I don't remember a time truthfully when I had an Android that my battery fell out and I had to scatter across the floor to pick it up. I'm sure it happens to people, but it's just one of those things that iPhone users always like to say. And honestly, if anything, this makes Android better, because putting a battery in an Android is pretty damn simple. You just pop that bitch open and install it. Putting a battery in an iPhone is beyond a different story. Like, why is this shit so difficult? Not even Doctor Strange could get down to fixing an iPhone battery. I shouldn't have to do surgery to fix my damn phone battery. In fact, I'd rather break my phone into a million pieces and have to put it together like Legos every time than do surgery on my phone every time the battery breaks. And I definitely don't want to pay that $69 fee because I know I could just buy the battery for half the cost. But I won't go through that pain-piercing feeling of doing surgery on my phone. So I just have to pay that shit like it's a monopoly for them. Another argument they always bring up is that the emojis are goofy as hell. And man, I literally can't blame them. But that's because iPhone took all the good emojis. But Android emojis are pretty goofy as hell, and we can give that one to the iPhones. Now let's talk about it reverse. Android users always talking shit on iPhone users. Android users for some reason always like to bring up that when iPhone releases a new feature that they already had it. iPhone cannot release one new feature without one mofo saying that Android already had it. But there's just one thing you really need to consider for a second, and that's, do we really give a fuck? Like, does anyone actually care that Apple releases a feature after Android already did it? I swear, this happens with literally anything that gets popular after the fact. The more they see people like a feature, the more they're going to want to add it. And to be honest, iPhone does the features better 99% of the time. There's a reason why they take their time releasing updates and changes. And experiencing those new features on my iPhone felt better than they did on my Android. Another thing Android users always complain about is the screen cracking. And it's something I can somewhat agree with, if you're a fucking dumbass. 99.9% of the time, iPhone users with cracked screens set it up upon themselves. They walk around with their phone with no case on it. Of course it's gonna crack when you drop it. But personally for me, I've never experienced this because I know how to take care of my damn phone myself. This argument never really made sense to me though, because Androids literally experience the exact same thing. If you drop it with no case, then it's going to most likely crack. In fact, what's worse is when you get these lines on it, because you can visibly see your phone and just not be able to do shit. I gotta give Android another L on this take. And the last thing I always remember is hearing complaints about the battery, making fun of iPhone batteries for being trash. And I gotta be honest on this one, I'm gonna give it to Android users. iPhones have a good 6 months before the battery starts to give out. And it's not like the battery just up and dies. I'm talking about you charging your phone to 100% and it going to 1% in the next 30 minutes. If your iPhone's battery health is shit, then it's pretty much over for you. You might as well trash the phone at that point. So putting these points face to face, we've reached a tie between these two parties. And honestly, that's how it should be. Why do we put so much care into what fucking phone you use? They both do the same shit. There's rarely even big differences between them either. I think as a society, no matter what we get, there's always going to be arguments for zero reason. And this argument itself kind of proves it. We should stand on equal grounding and phones shouldn't be segregated. So stand with me, brothers. Raise your iPhone, Android, and anything above in the air, because we are all equal at the end of it. Except Windows phones. Who the fuck would buy a Windows phone? Anyways, that's gonna be it. Follow my TikTok and my Instagram. As always, I love you guys consensually. And until next time, I'm out.